Hello everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel, and if you are a new subscriber, I am really excited to have you here. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Here we talk about HR, employability, occasionally lifestyle, but yeah, we are all for getting empowered, getting the right coins, and knowing and having the right skills and knowledge to thrive in the corporate career world. Today we are talking about a topic that I would rather not talk about, honestly, because me, when I hear toxic like this, as they are going like this, I've passed this place, right? But occasionally, I tweet or I ask people in my WhatsApp community about what topics they want me to speak on my YouTube channel. And someone had replied saying, how to survive a toxic boss. I'm like, you people survive a toxic boss? Me, when I see toxicity like this, 180 degrees, I just move here. And I was not going to do this video. And then I remembered that someone had invited me to speak. And I think I'll find the flyer and put somewhere here about, I think the title was, okay, again, the title will come up here. I think choosing between toxicity and good pay as the beginning of your law career, it was a legal conversation. And I was particularly perturbed that you people are discussing choosing pay and toxicity. And then I realized that I might be speaking from a privileged point of view. And in my career, and now that I take a couple steps back, I realized that I have actually worked with toxic people before. The problem is that me, as I told you, when I see toxicity like this, boom. So I didn't even spend up to 6 weeks in the two places. Yeah, so today we'll be talking about how to navigate, escape, run away from a toxic boss or a toxic place. So this is where we take a break, get a bottle of water. I feel like this one is strong, so maybe you need to get a bottle of liquor or Coke, I don't know, as we jot and learn how to manage a toxic workplace. You might think that this video is not for you. Number one, you might have a friend that might be working with a toxic organization and they do not even know that they experiencing toxicity. So you need to watch this video so you'll be able to show it to them or share it with them. Number two, you might accidentally find yourself, maybe not even in a toxic workplace. In HR, we say people make up the workplace, right? So it might not even be a toxic workplace. It might just be a slight toxic display from that overthinking boss. Yeah, so you're able to deduct that this is what is happening, and you're able to make the right strategies and decisions to escape, run away, or manage while you're trying to do so. So let's get into it, guys. Grab a bottle of water, and we're back in 1 second. Welcome back. So before we even get to how to manage a toxic workplace or how to manage a toxic boss, how do we even recognize toxicity? The word itself is even hard to pronounce. Number one is micromanaging. I feel like that's the most relatable thing. They hired you as senior designer. Senior, they even had senior in front of your title, but they are saying, oh, the opacity of this design is low. Oh, the transparency is 0. Oh, can you deliver 4 designs in 1 day? Eh? Are we using Canva here? I'm not even sure that people do 4 Canva designs every day. So the first is micromanagement. They hire you, but they do not give you room to express your creativity. And it's not just in creative role. As an accountant, as an HR manager, you know, you have a founder that is breathing down your neck, you know, continuously talking down on you, which is like the second point. Number 2, public shaming. You know all those bosses that you be on general meetings, right? They'll not say, oh, Obi didn't do that. I thought I asked her to. They could have told you in the DMs, so they could have reached out to you on Slack. They could have given you the feedback via email yesterday. They will not. But that meeting that has 67 people on the call, that's where they call you out publicly. Yeah, it's toxic. Run away. Pick your race. Another random thing that people do or people experience that they do not know that is toxic is an environment, actually, that make you constantly doubt your ability, that, for a lack of better word, shit on your work. I don't know if you don't work before and you got the feedback and you went to the toilet to cry. Yeah, you know, it's not you, it's them. I promise you. I mean, sometimes it's you, but most times it's not you, it's them. If you're experiencing that, that's the litmus test of toxicity, and that's a sign that you need this video. Oh yeah, in fact, this is a very good one to share. Favoritism and manipulation. One of my close friends very recently struggled with getting a raise at work, and you know, she came to me, man of faith, you know, I've been jumped over twice for a raise. I mean, if there are clear metrics of performances, you shouldn't be jumped over, right? But just imagine that you've missed promotion 2 times. That means that your mates have left you behind, like by 2 layers. Yeah, that's a sign. And then the last one is immediately you are scared to wake up to work. you are anxious or Monday is coming. We all hate Mondays. I know that's a different ballgame, but we don't all hate Mondays. I actually have people that like Mondays. I'm not even joking. But yeah, aside the normal, oh, we all hate Mondays. Oh, can the weekend be longer? Those normal burns. You genuinely open your Slack, see on a Wednesday morning, and you are scared because you do not know the kind of threats or threat that you will meet. You are continuously anxious, depressed. That's a sign that you're working in a toxic environment. Now that we have highlighted some simulations and characteristics, what do you do when you are in a toxic environment? Number one, very important, don't internalize the toxicity. I think that is very important. You get the negative feedback, you get your worksheet on. I remember that company that I said I ran away after 6 weeks. I remember one day the CEO called me and said, that's why I told my colleagues that I don't want any HR person. I don't want anybody to come and be doing HR admin. We are doing serious work here. What the fuck is HR? Literally, that's what he said. And then I'm like, I actually did not apply to that job. I did not apply. That's why I don't like all this, my uncle, my auntie kind of thing. It was my friend's uncle that, she asked for my CV, interviewed me, and I got the job, right? Yeah, so it wasn't nepotism because they were actually looking for an HR, right? But like I was wondering, I did apply. Like you guys wanted an HR, you hired me, right? Yeah, so do not internalize it, because when you begin to internalize it, then you then begin to question your value, wonder if you're a smart person or a dumb person. Know that what I tell people is that people that are working in toxic places is that this is you, a man of faith, and this is your work. So when they shit on your work, it is your work they are shitting on. They are not shitting on you. And to be honest, the same works with excellence work, right? I mean, you produce excellent work. So when your work is excellent, it is like the output of you. But like that negativity, that bad feeling, it is not you, I promise. So always try to separate yourself from the scenario. You are not the problem. Again, remember, they are. Number two, very, very important, document everything. Document the Slack, document the email conversations. If they abuse you 3 times and they tell you went done once, that well done that they told you, document it. There's a way that documentations work. I don't want to say there's a way that collecting evidences work, but that's actually one of it. Especially if the scenario is that the workplace is not toxic, but your boss is toxic. You would need evidence. You might think that you do not have a voice, but at some point you will have a voice. There might be investigation into your team, especially for like large corporate and multinationals. You might have another boss coming. There might be a reshuffle of HOD. I've heard this is very hilarious. I've heard of a scenario before where my friend was working under a toxic manager. And so, every night he'll come and answer my DM. I'm like, resign. He was like, I can't resign. I don't have energy to look for another job. Something. So he worked in that company for a long period, 3 years. Resigning now is like abandoning my work. That's another YouTube topic entirely. But yeah, so guess what happened? The manager now fucked up to the upper management. So the upper management then began to investigate about how, that manager had been treating his direct report, how he's been relating with other managers on his level. And then because he had been documenting things, recording calls, recording meeting calls, like he had enough evidences to hang his manager. And Boko Tinjetolong, like they would say in my language, his manager was hung and the toxicity ended. So yeah, document everything, the good, the bad, the ugly. Number 3, find your safe space. So no matter how bad it is, either it's a bad environment or a bad boss, there would be like an outlet. There would be someone that is your friend or an acquaintance. Your safe place doesn't even have to be like your workspace. You can have, for example, you can say every Friday when I shut down my store by 6 p.m., I'm not going to go home and wallow in poverty. I'm going to go to Chippyverse, right? This is not a free PR for Chippyverse. Yeah, you can say, oh, I'm going to go to media, every Thursday to find my inner joy. I'm going to go to Battery, or I'm just going to invite my friends over every Friday. We are going to eat, drink, ice cream, eat pizza, and make each other happy. And I will let that joy last me through the weekend. Which leads me to the next thing. Have boundaries. Have things that... Remember when I was talking about sign of toxic places, I was talking about they don't have boundary. They call you at 11 p.m. It's not all... Let me clarify. It's not all the jobs that they call you at 11 p.m. that they are toxic people. But you understand what I mean. There's a way that people will call you by 11 p.m. and you're going to be like, and you will answer them. And there's a way that people will call you at 11 p.m. Your boss will call you at 11 and be like, So like the reaction is different, right? Yes, so set boundaries. After 5 is after 5. After 6 is after 6. At least you are able to measure the time that you used to be joyous. and the name that you used to experience sorrow. The second to the last, which for me like is the most important, is that no matter how much endurance you have and how much patience you think you have, it is very important that you begin to plan an exit strategy. So do you want to revamp your CV? Do you want to revamp your LinkedIn? Do you want to start talking to friends? Do you need to start asking for referrals internally? Do you need like a LinkedIn recommendation? Do you need a skill? Do you need an upgrade? Do you know that, hey Jesus, I want to give you guys free expo. Do you know that if you're leaving a company and it's a company that have like an L&D budget, you can actually take a course. So instead of using your personal money to skill up, and on my channel we've talked about the importance of L&D for my guests and even from personally, you can use your company's money to skill up for your next job. Don't say I told you. It's not me that told you. But yeah, use your company money. You're living 3 months and they don't have a policy. Again, there is shock absorber to that kind of policy. I will not share it here. But yeah, so they don't have a policy that mandates you to like refund your training fee or something. Use the company money, take the training, everything, and plan your exit. 6 months, take that new skill, absorb that new skill, take that new training, get that new certification for Azure or Microsoft or wherever, or Google, wherever it is, and then begin to plan your exit. So one thing you can say is, I'm going to leave this company in 90 days. So what do you want to do between now and 90 days? And if you need like a proper career planning, career strategy, I would bring up a link here or put it in the description on how to like map out your exit. And of course, the last one is to leave. What else are you waiting for? What do you think will be the last one? Leave that toxic company. Yes, you've managed. Yes, you've documented. Yes, you've set boundary. But I promise you, there is nothing better than leaving a toxic environment. Thank you very much for coming to my sermon. Like I said, I worked with a toxic environment. I ran away after 6 weeks. No. I just remember that I worked in another toxic environment. Hey, Jesus. I wanted to say God will punish this man, but let me just shut up. Yeah, but again, I mean, honestly, in both scenarios, for the first one, I literally quit and I went on a trip to Abuja. For the second one, I mapped out my exit plan, right? I'm like, lucky for me, it was a contract. So before the contract ended, I said, I'm not going to renew this contract because the renewal of the contract was going to come in a 50% raise. Yeah, so money can be tempting. That is why I said it's very important for you to know when to leave. So it was going to give me a 50% raise, which is good money in Tinubu's economy, right? But like I knew that I was going to leave. I already started applying to jobs, talking to people. So yeah, it is very important that you know that like you are not the one that they are shitting on. Like, separate your work from who you are. And I think I just want to say one more thing, especially if the scenario is the toxic boss and not a toxic workplace. Sometimes people are actually troubled, right? I mean, if you're a Gen Z, and I've been in a community like that before, and I've also said something like that, it's not your problem that your boss has personal issues. That's your business. But I always like to share this positive scenario. There's someone that booked a career clarity session with me, and she came to report her boss who was super toxic. I'm like, and I do a bit of research every time I have a career consultation with clients. And I'm like, you work with this company. You said you report to the co-founder. Is this co-founder this person? And she was like, yes. And I realized that I knew the co-founder. I mean, she also knew me from afar. And I just didn't think that she was a toxic person. And for the first time, because when someone comes to me and they have toxicity, I literally help them draw out a career exit plan. Please leave the toxicity. But for the first time, I actually advised someone to stay back. And I asked her to take, the manager to lunch and like have a very relaxed conversation. And she did. And I mean, she's left the company now, but just taking her out, having that conversation brought out a lot of things. So if you think that it's in a case of a toxic boss and not a toxic workplace, that's something you can also try, especially if leaving is not like an immediate option for you. But generally, my advice for you is to always leave toxicity. So the next time when I'm not coming to my YouTube channel to talk about toxic behavior, I hope that you find this video very helpful and you share with all your friends that have went to put themselves in toxic scenarios. Bye-bye to toxicity. See you in the next video. Bye.